Landfall is a Category 4 hurricane. In Lake Charles, CBS's Omar Villafranca says picking up the pieces won't be easy.
This is my youngest daughter's bedroom.
Michelle and Eric Trahan's dream home was torn in two. The wind and pressure were so strong, they seemingly sucked the curtains right out of the windows. Now, the daunting task of rebuilding.
I walked outside this morning and just stood and looked at everything, and there was a rainbow. And I thought, okay, we're gonna go. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
On the 57th anniversary of the March on Washington, thousands gathered on the National Mall to call for social justice and police reform. Anita Wells was among the demonstrators.
For me, it's about coming here to center Black and for people to understand that our lives truly matter, our issues matter, and until you center Black, we're going to continue having the same issues over and over. So it's time for change.
The event came after weeks of sometimes violent protests over the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. The city of Kenosha is still reeling following that shooting. CBS's Wendy Gillette reports.
How will we continue to change and love our community?
A candlelight vigil and prayer was held in downtown Kenosha for Jacob Blake, who was shot by a police officer Sunday night. He was left paralyzed from the waist down. As demonstrators call for justice for Blake, a lawyer representing 3 officers at the shooting released their version of what happened. They say they responded to a call that Blake was stealing a vehicle. They claim they used tasers on him twice and they had no effect. And they say he was armed with a knife and refused demands to drop the weapon. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Firefighters are slowly getting a handle on the wildfires that have burned more than 2,000 square miles in California. Governor Gavin Newsom.
730 now fires across the state, representing about 1.4 million acres that have burned just in the latest round of wildfires that we've experienced.
Evacuation orders have been lifted for at least 50,000 people in Northern California. The Dow closed up 161 points today, officially wiping out the losses for the year. NASDAQ was up 70. This is CBS News.
CBS News Radio is your home for breaking news. With our team of reporters around the country and the world, we give you the coverage you can trust.
Hiring is challenging. Just ask Dylan Miskowitz, the COO of Cafe Altura.
We needed a director of coffee in order to move our products forward. It felt like we were looking for a needle in a haystack.
Dylan started using ZipRecruiter and found his perfect candidate in a few days.
We were very impressed with how quickly we had quality candidates apply through ZipRecruiter.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/try. That's ZipRecruiter.com/try.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I've been on them so long now that I've just enjoyed the fact that the only thing I haven't done is gotten sick. I haven't been sick in 2 or 3 years, period. End of story. You know, it just, I haven't. And I got to attribute that to the fruits and veggies.
Balance of Nature is now offering 35% off on any new preferred order. Go to balanceofnature.com today and use discount code FRUITS.
This is a 1030 KVOI News Update, provided by KOLD News 13, your live, local, late-breaking news leader.
Good evening. It is 6:04. I'm Tom Fairbanks. Tucson is saying goodbye to a legendary coach. 85-year-old Lute Olson passed away last night. His statue on the U of A campus has become a memorial. People have been coming by all day today to pay their respects, leaving flowers, basketballs, cards, and candles at the McHale Center where his statue stands. The tributes for the coach have stretched across generations, coming from young and old alike. Olson was enshrined in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2002. He finished his 24-season career as the Wildcats head coach with a 589-187 win-loss record and led the Cats to the national championship in 1997. Crews are battling 2 wildfires burning in the Tortolita Mountains. According to Arizona State Forestry, the Dove Fire is at 600 acres, while the Edwin Fire is at 100 acres as of this morning. The Dove Fire is about a half-mile away from merging with the Edwin Fire. Both fires started yesterday. Crews are currently working to secure the south flank above the Dove Mountain community and report good progress. No evacuations are planned at this time. Tomorrow, Grand Canyon National Park visitors will soon be able to enjoy shuttles again. The park is beginning to reopen some services that were closed due to the pandemic. Capacity will be limited to 15 passengers on shuttles. Masks will be required for everyone on board. Hand sanitizer will be available. Passengers must follow social distancing guidelines, and the buses themselves will undergo daily cleanings. Tucson weekend weather, a chance for showers and thunderstorms as the afternoon is wearing on. Better chance for showers over the weekend and into next week. Highs in the upper 90s over the weekend and into next week. Right now, it's mostly cloudy and 99 degrees at the airport.
The following is a paid program, and the host is solely responsible for its content. Opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of KVOI or its sponsors.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Eye on the Ball. I'm Steve Rivera, alongside co-host Jay Gonzalez, and you're listening to 1030 The Voice. What the last 22 hours have been in Tucson with the passing of Lute Olson. Both of us knew him very well, Jay Gonzalez and myself. We're going to take the next hour to pay tribute to Lute Olson.
Celebrate him.
Celebrate him,
yes.
we
we do. I mean, it's a sad day. But it's time to celebrate because Lute was that kind of a guy, and that's what we owe him.
Right. Brought a lot of joy to this community.
Sure did. And we'll talk about this some more. But change Tucson.
Just so we start the show, we're going to have Josh Pastner, obviously a former coach with Lute, former player under Lute. We're going to have Corey Williams, a former player under Lute, and then Tom Diddleston, his sports information director back in the day.
For all the years.
Yes. But first, we have some big news. We're going to do this now. Why wait?
Well, we had hoped to be able to break this to you and with a big celebration at the end of the show, but we wanted to dedicate this show to Lute, but we do have a big announcement, so we're going to make it now. And so we wanted to let everybody know that today is our last day on KVOI because we're taking our talents to Fox Sports 1450 starting Tuesday.
You sound like LeBron. Taking our talents to South Beach.
I've been wanting to do that for a really long time.
Yeah, we start Tuesday. Should be a lot of fun.
Tuesday, we're going to be on a sports channel, which is exciting for us, and we've got a new time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be in the middle of the day, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. We'll still be an hour initially, but I was looking at it, and we're kind of batting cleanup, Steve. I don't know if I've expressed that to you, but we're batting cleanup on the Fox Sports lineup because they've got Dan Patrick at two of the top shows. In sports radio. Dan Patrick, it's from 6 to 9. Then from 9 to noon, it's Colin Cowherd, The Herd. And then it's Doug Gottlieb from noon to 3. And then we're up.
And
we're
then
batting
we're up.
Fourth. So,
we better hit a home run or two.
Well, we need to. But, we're excited. They're excited over at Fox Sports 1450. And so we're headed over.
I'd like to say, too, I've been here 20 months. You've been here 4. We didn't ask the blessings, but the people of the Bustos Media were happy for us.
Incredibly supportive, and we do want to give a shout out to the people we've been working with here. Patty Ruiz, the station manager, who I've known for 100 years. Ray Engineeri, who's I've known his family because I went to high school with his dad and his uncles. The program director Elsa Martinez, who's done the accounting and stuff over here, and then Tom Callahan, who's been on the other side of the glass 4 out of 5 days of the week, and then Tom Fairbanks, who's over there today. Here on our last day.
Spinning our tunes.
Can I offer my congratulations to you guys?
Sure.
Sounds like a move up to me.
You didn't know, did you?
No.
Yeah,
That's a complete surprise.
Breaking news for Tom, but Tom Callahan knew, and I was supposed to bring him donuts yesterday, but I think that would have kind of given away the surprise. But I want to second what Steve said. I've only been here a few months, but these people have been great. They've been a lot of fun. Very easy to work with. They kind of let us, do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And again, very supportive. When we broke the news, Patty was kind of, bummed, but again, they congratulated us and we're on our way.
I'm going to have to set a new button on my radio dial. What is it? 1450 on the AM band.
And that was a big deal. We're going 3 to 4 with a good chance of going 3 to 5 on a sports station. And they understood that.
Right, and they did. And, we've got to lead in some great shows leading into our show. We're going to be doing the same thing, though. We want everybody to know that we're going to be doing the show that we do. That's one of the reasons we're going over there, because they want that show. So we're going over there with Steve Earnhardt, who's the market president for iHeart. It's an iHeart station, so you'll be able to listen to us on the iHeart app. Our podcast will be on there, so that'll be a good thing. And then Nick Bruns, who we all know as Meatball, will be our program director over there, and we've been working with him. And we've got our own studio. We got to doll it up a little bit, decorated posters and stuff like that. But we'll be in our own studio over there on at iHeart.
Should be a lot of fun with the same type of guests. So we're looking forward to it.
We are.
September 1st. So join us if you can.
Starting Tuesday.
Yes. So let's get back to the Lute Olson tribute. You covered him for a couple of years. You've had some good times and some tough times.
Right. Well, look, again, Lute was a very competitive guy, and he had high expectations of himself, but he had high expectations of the people who were around the program, whether you were a media guy, a coach, a player, a fan. And so sometimes, you
butted heads.
Butted heads a little bit. But, my memory and will always be of what a great job he did, how much fun it was to cover him, and how much fun it was to cover the team during that time.
Yeah, no question. I think the one thing that he requested of us, the media, was to be fair.
Right.
It's all he kind of asked. There were times when he thought that some of us were not fair, but fair is kind of debatable.
Sure it is. And, look, sometimes you're going to write stuff that people don't like, but as long as you write it well and you write it fair and it's factual, they're good. But, there were a lot of things that Lute did, for me, both, to learn. As I was a brand new sports writer. I'd been a reporter for, a few years, but this was my first gig doing sports. And I was covering a team that, to this day, I think stands as probably the most loved team, the 1988 team.
You never forget your first one.
Everything that U of A basketball has been and is now started then, and I was privileged to have been a part of that.
No question. I tweeted this last night when I had time to kind of reflect a little on a little tweet, that I would not be the reporter kind of writer that I am because people remember a winner. Right. I was able to cover a winner for a long time.
Right.
So they associated me with, even my mom says, "You doing a U of A story today?" Kind of they think I'm part of the team.
Right.
And I'm really not. I'm just there all the time.
Right.
But so they kind of said, well, if I would have covered like State West and they were 0-27, they wouldn't know who the heck I am.
Sure.
But because they were good, I was able to do a lot of positive stories.
Right. And the thing that I really I really want to say about Lute and what I said on social media is, what he did for Tucson. And, I'm a native here. I was born here. And, if you just ever wonder what he has done, just think about what Tucson would be like, what our image would be if he hadn't done what he did. And if somebody wants to minimize how important Arizona basketball has been to Tucson because it's basketball and because it's sports, sorry. It was a big deal. As I said, we hold our head up a little higher because of basketball. The pride that we've had in this basketball program.
You know this because you've done other things other than sports. People recognize the A because Arizona basketball was the A.
They do. Yeah, you'll talk to people who don't know anything about you or anything about the Tucson, and they'll say, "Oh, you guys have a really good basketball team."
Yeah, the white-haired guy. That guy.
And everywhere you go, and again, there's a lot of pride that Tucson has because we've been able to hang our hat on the attention that we got of being a winner.
No question. And they're still hanging on to it, baby.
We'll hang on to it forever and ever. You know what? It'll always be here. It will always be that, and you'll be able to talk about Tucson like that forever and ever.
Yeah. Sad day yesterday, but we're going to pay tribute to Lute's long career, successful career, 589 wins against 147. I was thinking about that today. For every game they lost, they won 3. So you know how locker rooms are. Very difficult to get into when they lose. But if you're going to win 3 out of 4, I'll take that.
Yeah, all day.
Yeah,
all day.
Let's take the quick break here now. I think we're getting a hold of Josh and get him on the show.
Yep, I'm looking forward to talking to these guys, Josh, Corey Williams, and our old friend Tom Duddleston.
Trusted local news and talk. 1030, The Voice.
These days, most families are concerned with having the right insurance coverage. Protecting your family, home, auto, and other valuable possessions can be challenging and sometimes expensive. Crest Insurance gives you flexible options and solutions while saving you money. Insurance is not one size fits all, and at Crest, we find the coverage that's best for you and your family. Visit us online at www.crestins.com or call us toll free at 888-881-5765.
There's a place in our house.
For 70 years, Benjamin Supply has been keeping Tucson flowing. Hygiene is our business. We help you achieve extreme clean. Minimize germ spreading with a hands-free sensor faucet. Forget the paper panic with a washlet seat. And speaking of waterworks, a big thanks to plumbers for their essential efforts during this health crisis. Shop our downtown showroom by appointment. Call us at 777-7000 or see all the products online at benjaminsupply.com.
Thanks to Benjamin Plumbing Supply.
Forecast models predict multiple dangerous storms during this 2020 hurricane season, and the American Red Cross urgently needs volunteers to help. The Red Cross needs new volunteers to train now for possible dispatch to upcoming hurricane impact zones. Assistance is needed with shelter operations, food services, and other vital tasks. If you are compelled to assist others should a disaster occur, please go to redcross.org/volunteer today. That's redcross.org/volunteer today.
With the reopening of the economy, it's back to business for Tucson, and there's never been a better time to advertise. You've probably been considering it for a while, but there's a lot of questions. At 1030 The Voice, we can help you every step of the way, from creating an effective and affordable advertising schedule, to crafting your message, to creating the perfect commercial. With our Addy Award-winning production department, call General Manager Patty Ruiz at 791-7208 and let 1030 The Voice get to work for you.
100 years of election coverage on radio.
Alexander Hamilton said a nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master and deserves one. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. And this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement.
Your vote, your voice. Election 2020.
Hello, my name is Roger Staubach. I'm a Navy veteran, and I hope you tune in to the American Warrior program with my good friend Ben Bueller Garcia.
Did you know that even though Roger Staubach had an NFL contract, he volunteered to go to Vietnam? That's just one of the compelling stories you'll hear Saturdays on American Warrior Radio. Trust an NFL legend to make the right call. Tune in to American Warrior Radio Saturdays at noon right here on 1030 AM The Voice. Over 160 other stories on demand at AmericanWarriorRadio.com.
Trusted local news and talk. 1030 The Voice.
Hey, welcome back to Eye on the Ball here on 1030 The Voice. I'm Steve Rivera alongside co-host Jay Gonzalez. And now on the phone we have, I'd like to say, one of the famous sons or popular sons of Arizona basketball, Josh Pastner. He happens to be the coach at Georgia Tech. Josh, how are you?
Hey, Steve, I'm doing well. I appreciate you having me on, and I wish we were, talking about the upcoming college basketball season, not about the subject that we're going to talk about. But, however, that being said, it's a great opportunity to
reminisce, talk good things,
share some stories. And I do want to say for the listeners out there, and Steve, you know this, Steve, you covered Coach Olson, you wrote books with him. I mean, you've known him intimately for a long time, and I know he was a big fan of yours, and you know that as well too.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. Just a fun time. I also thought that you were kind of almost like a son to him. He talked about that poetically before you left to Kentucky, and you loved it. I can still remember you kissing the ground, your senior day, the court, and the crying and the hugging and all that. Just what he meant to you. What did he mean to you?
Well, Coach Olson was the absolute best. Look, the guy is one of the greatest ever, regardless of sport, to ever coach. And you don't get to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame without being elite in your profession. And he obviously is one of the greatest ever to do that. But more importantly, Steve, and I don't know how many people know this, but he was as good of a coach, an incredible coach as he was an even a better person. I mean, and he was so charitable, and you know how much he did in the community for Tucson. And I tell people all the time, he single-handedly put Tucson on the map and nationally, not for sports-wise, but just as an overall city. He built Tucson. He built the University of Arizona. He did that. I mean, he single-handedly did that. Yes, with the players and his coaches, but he's responsible for that. And he was a rock star in the state of Arizona. He was like equivalent to an A-list movie star when he walked into places all across the state. People were just in awe of him, starstruck and enamored, and that's just kind of the level of who he was, and he was almost, larger than life in a sense, and he was also at the same time one of the most kind human beings ever.
Josh, this is Jay Gonzalez. We did meet after your coaching career started. I remember seeing you, and I think you had 3 or 4 cell phones hanging off your belt or something like that. But when you think about your relationship with him as a player, then your relationship with him as a coach, and then you became a head coach. Talk about how your relationship evolved. At those stages.
Well, Jay, I do remember, and let me just say this: I've become more efficient. No longer do I have 4 cell phones. I'm down to 2. I'm only down to 2 now. So, but no, look, I got to see Coach from different angles. 1 as a player, 2 as a staff member, and then 3 as a head coach that's under his tree at another program. So I've had different phases to be around him, and the one thing I try to do personally is study him, watch him, emulate him as much as I can. And not only from up close, but also from afar. And I still today at my practices at Georgia Tech, the terminology, practice plans, strategically, systematically, that a lot of stuff that we do is a direct reflection from what we did at Arizona when I was with Coach Olson, and we try to put that into play here at Georgia Tech, or prior when I was at Memphis. So all that being said, he's had a tremendous influence. I mean, look, guys, I wouldn't be sitting here as the head coach at Georgia Tech without Coach Olson. I mean, there's just, it's in my world, in my profession, to be a head coach, the youngest head coach in the ACC, and previously to be the head coach at Memphis, it's like winning the Powerball in a sense. You know what I mean? And to equivalent of that, and to do that in this profession, and that doesn't happen without Coach Olson. I mean, he opened doors for me, gave me incredible opportunities, and I cannot put any words to ever describe my feelings and gratitude, and to be fully indebted to him for the doors that he opened.
You're winning the lottery, and I'm looking for a $10 scratcher. Hey, how difficult was it to tell him that you were going to leave to join Calipari?
That was hard. I mean, and right when I left, Steve, and you'll remember this. I left in the spring to go join Coach Calipari, and actually the next fall, Coach had retired or stepped down, or retired right before. So it worked itself out, but I, at the time, it was a great opportunity, and I didn't know how much longer Coach was going to go. I didn't know at that time, and so I also felt it would have been good for me to continue to learn, and got a chance to learn from Coach Calipari. I'm so blessed and fortunate to do that. Another Hall of Famer, so I was able to learn from 2 Hall of Fame guys. But it was when I had to tell Coach that I was leaving. That was the second hardest call I've had to do in my life. The first hardest call was just a few days ago, being able to get on the phone and tell Coach how I felt, because I had heard he wasn't doing well, and it might not be much longer, and I had to be able. And every time I talked to Coach, I told him how I felt, that I owe him everything, and I love him, and he's the greatest. But that call on Monday was the hardest thing I ever had to do, and the second hardest was telling him that I was leaving from Arizona to go with Coach Calipari.
So, Josh, give us your Lute Olson moment as a player. When a time that you got his attention, for better or worse. What's your, when you think back to your career as a player, give me the moment that you think about him.
I'll give you a good one, and Steve will probably remember this. Look, everyone wanted a Pastner game. They all wanted a Pastner game because that means we were up. I was a walk-up, so I only got in games when we were up 25 or 30, and everyone wanted a Pastner game. That means the entire economy in Tucson for that evening was booming because the restaurants, the bars were hopping. People were ready to spend a lot of because everyone was in good feelings because we just won a game by a large margin, and you know how that energy affected the city. So I always played in the games. We're up 20-25. Made a long story short, we're playing LSU my senior year. We're number 1 in the country, and we're playing an 11 a.m. game on national television. It's down in Baton Rouge. Look, most of our guys are from Southern California. And in LSU, that it's their mascot's the Tiger. And right about 20-25 feet from us, there's this large live tiger in this cage, going crazy in the cage. And our guys are like looking around, like, what is going on? And I just knew, most of you guys are, they're most from being on the beach all the time, And so, anyway, we got our butts kicked.
It was an ambush. It was
over. It was over early. Anyway, late in the second half, and Steve will remember this, I started lacing my shoes up, thinking I'm going to go in, getting ready to go because we were down 25. It was going to be a Pastner game, but on the reversal of it, we were going to be on the losing side. So, the clock was ticking down. The game ended. Coach Olson never put me in. The next day on the plane, I was walking by Coach Olson, and Steve knows this. Coach Olson's hands, like he had huge hands and big fingers. And he kind of grabbed me on my thigh. I was walking by, and he said, "Hey, Josh, I just want to apologize to you." Because he stopped me, and he said, "I want to apologize to you for not putting you in the game." And I'm thinking to myself, Coach, and he said, "But I wanted you to be able to leave the University of Arizona for you to be able to tell your kids and grandkids that you left here as an undefeated player."
right.
And I left Arizona after my 4 years playing as an undefeated player. I was 42-0. That means we had 42 blowout wins. But to think at that time for him to think about that, about me, about that, to even think of that little thing like that just shows you what the kind of man he is. Now, I haven't been able to reciprocate it. I look back now as a head coach going into my 12th season. When we've been up, the times we've been fortunate to be up by 20 or 25, I don't put anyone in. I leave the starters in until about 30 seconds. So I don't know how Coach was thinking put me in with about 2 minutes to go because I can't do that. So, but anyway, that was one of the stories with Coach, man. Just an incredible human being to even think about that.
We have a little over a minute and a half left. So your best moment, or what's your thoughts on him moving forward in terms of, what's his legacy with you?
Well, Steve, you can talk about the wins. Think about the players he's coached, both. Everyone, how hard he was on the guys, but every player loved him. But, Steve, I don't think this gets talked about enough, and I know I'm coming up on time, and you know this. Bobby Olson, his first wife, when she died of ovarian cancer. And at that time, ovarian cancer, if someone got ovarian cancer, was pretty much a death sentence. But because of that, Coach went on a mission, and the money he raised for science, for research, and awareness, that it has changed ovarian cancer. And no longer is it a death sentence. The science, the medicine, the treatments are so much better. And I don't think Coach Olson gets enough credit for that either. And because, as you know, Steve, he was on a mission to try to find a cure for that because of what happened with Bobby. So, that's just another part of his legacy that he's impacted in such an incredible positive way.
No question.
That's great, Josh. Thanks so much for that. We do appreciate it, and we love him here. And as you said, he did a lot of great stuff for Tucson.
And let me just say this, Jay, you're awesome, and Steve, I want to give Steve because Steve covered Coach, the team, and Steve, and I know Coach loves Steve, and Steve was a huge part of the basketball. I look at Steve as my friend of mine. I know I'm coming up on time.
We got to cut it, Josh.
He's an awesome guy.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Got to go. Thank you.
All right, guys.
CBS News at the top and bottom of every hour. 1030 The Voice, Tucson's trusted local news and talk.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Wall Street capped a positive week with fresh highs for the S&P and NASDAQ. The Dow Jones Industrial Average jumped 162, the S&P added 23, the Nasdaq gained 70. AT&T reportedly is taking a fresh look at DirecTV. The Wall Street Journal reports it's in talks with two private equity firms about a deal for the satellite TV service. The price would likely be far below the $49 billion AT&T paid for DirecTV in 2015. A slow comeback for casinos has MGM Resorts shedding jobs. The biggest operator of casinos on the Las Vegas Strip is sending pink slips to about 18,000 employees, more than a quarter of its pre-pandemic workforce. Peloton gained 8% after touching a record high. Data analytics firm Yipit Data says Peloton's orders remain considerably above pre-COVID and year-ago levels. Peloton reports quarterly results next month. Larry Kofsky, Bloomberg Radio.
CBS News Update. It's been a tough week. That may be an understatement from Governor John Bel Edwards as Louisiana struggles to recover from Hurricane Laura.
There are 82 water systems that are down in Louisiana right now. That's a real problem when you have electricity and water systems down.
Hundreds of thousands are without power, and officials say it could be weeks before power and water are restored. Calcasieu Parish Sheriff Tony Mancuso.
I know everybody wants their air conditioner back on. I want to take a bath so bad and shave. And, we just don't have the luxuries that we have right now. So relax, take a deep breath, and know that we're all on the same page.
Rita Spears is surveying the damage in Orange, Texas.
It was bad. We were looking for the surge, but we didn't get the surge. But we got the tornadoes and the wind, and it was rough.
CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
Hi, I'm Ron Hess from the Window Depot. You know about our great prices and our biggest inventory on windows and doors. Well, now the Window Depot is the place for all your kitchen cabinets. And that's not all. Now you can get granite countertops at the Window Depot. That's right, we now stock a large variety of prefab granite countertops starting at $116 for a 9-foot section. That's less than Formica. So come into the Window Depot today, because now we have granite.
Camille Rivas Rutherford with Coldwell Banker Realty has been one of the top producing real estate agents in Tucson, Oro Valley, Marana, and Vail for more than 20 years. Let her help you find your dream home in southern Arizona. Her passion and enthusiasm for real estate has helped her become one of the most respected and trusted realtors in the area. And she was recently named a recipient of Coldwell Banker's 2019 International President's Circle Award. Camille's approach to sales and marketing and selling or buying a home is second to none. Give her a call at 520-250-5192.
Americans must never give in to fear, and while we socially distance ourselves, we should never forget that we are all stronger when we stick together. All of us sharing in sacrifice. All of us working to overcome this peril, looking out for one another, brave and resolute. We are Americans. We must and will keep America healthy.
Inside Track with Bruce Ash, Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on 1030 The Voice, trusted local news and talk.
Tucson's Hispanic Voices, bringing diversity into the conversation. We'll talk local politics while fostering a culture of respect and understanding. Plus, we'll share stories of music, food, art, and culture. Tune in Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 on KVOI 1030 The Voice. Tucson's Hispanic Voices, sponsored by MPG Automotive, HT Metals, the Law Office of Natalie H. Haywood, and music by Gabriel F. Romo.
This is The Voice, 1030, Tucson's trusted news and talk.
Hey, welcome back to Eye on the Ball here on 1030 The Voice. I'm Steve Rivera alongside co-host Jay Gonzalez. And now on the phone we have Corey Williams, a great friend of the program, former U of A player, kind of a diplomat in town, and one of those guys who does a lot of things in the community. Corey, how are you?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good.
Tough, fine, thank you. Tough 22 hours, I assume. You had a great thing, a great tribute on Lute this week, or yesterday or today, with your little videos and your sayings. Just what did he mean to you?
You know, I thought about that because obviously when the news hit, I was extremely upset, and I was trying to get a hold of my feelings and figure out why and what was bothering me so much. You know, Coach was 85, and we had kind of got a heads up that things weren't looking so well. So we were expecting it, but when it hit, it just realized that, some of the best moments of my youth, some of the best moments in my life, he was at the center of or around or responsible for or involved with. And when you lose somebody who is part of those memories, who pushed you to create a lot of memories afterwards, it's just weird. Coach was that central figure for all of us, spanning 2.5 decades. He was the glue. He was all of our father, stepfather, uncle, friend, business partner. He was everything to all of us. And so he was the center of everything as far as our basketball universe is concerned. And for us to lose him, it's just devastating for everybody.
Corey, this is Jay Gonzalez. You played on one of the great teams, one of the Final Four teams that was here, and that came on the heels of what was probably could have been Lute's toughest time as a coach, coming off that Santa Clara loss. And talk about the the atmosphere around the program, and then just the way you guys did what you did that year.
Well, I can remember the year before, we were so loaded with talent, lots of NBA players everywhere you looked on that 92 team, the 92, 93 team. And, everyone had to trust Lute. It was, his program. He was the storied coach. He was the boss, and we all had to trust him. And then we had the first-round loss, and then the second year, everyone said it was a down year. Everyone said Arizona doesn't have a veteran big man. They've got the guards out front, but this team looks different than what we've seen. And it was a changing of mentality because Coach had to trust us, and it became a two-way street. And I can tell you, being a 19-year-old kid and having someone like Lute Olson turn to you and say, I need you to do this, this, and this for me. That had never happened before for any of us on that team. So we knew that for the first time, Coach's position, he was always going to be a Hall of Fame coach, but people were questioning him. Mm-hmm. They were questioning our program, and there was a real need for him to trust us. If you guys come down and have an open shot, take it. Some of the rules and constraints of the program got loosened up that year, and that responsibility, we wanted to have his back in a way that had never been done before, because we knew he's never been in this position. We read the newspapers. We knew what people were saying about us and what they were saying about Coach, and we love Coach. And we weren't going to stand for anybody questioning our leader. And so when he turned to us and said, okay, guys, we're going to play with 3 guards. Corey, you're going to play the 4. JB and Ray, you're going to do whatever the hell you can do on the glass to rebound. I need you guys. Let's make this work. That was the first time, we were like, okay, we got to get coaches back now. So that was the mentality for that year, and that's the reason that team, which of all the teams I played on, if I could play all those teams, my freshman through senior year teams, that team would finish with the worst record in a round-robin tournament against all those other teams. There's no question. Now, Damon and Khalid were good, but night in and night out, the freshman year team, Steve, you remember that squad. We won 19 games. As a national championship team. My senior year, we definitely were a Final Four team. My junior year, with Ben Davis, Ray Owes, Joseph Blair, we ended up in the Final Four again that year. So we had way more talented squads. We had the young guys on the bench, Dickerson, Simon, Jason Terry. We had better teams than that 94 team. That 94 team was kind of thin when you really look at it. But we had a purpose, and we were motivated, and that's all the difference.
You had a purpose of the 2 guys that were very, very good that year. And it all started in Maui with the Maui tournament, losing to Kentucky in the last second. But you guys found a way. I thought you're exactly right. Lute kind of loosened the reins, let the guys play ball, give them some responsibility, and you guys said, hey, we're not going to disappoint, but watch us play.
Yeah, it was really weird because I remember playing games where I would run rim to rim 4 times in a row and never touch the ball, yet we went on an 8-0 run. Because Damon hit a 3, Lid made a layup, JB got a dunk, Ray hit a jumper, timeout. And I'm like, this is insane. This team can play with tempo. They can score. It was a dream playing on that. The ball moved, and Coach said, okay, Damon, you're lightning quick, and you can shoot. You can shoot the floater. You can get in the lane. Guys, do what you do. Because before that, Coach would fit your strengths into the system. 94, the system was your strength. If Ray O's is a pick and pop guy, let's do that. We didn't have any pick and pop big men before Ray O's. Ray O would set a screen, step back, and shoot a three at 6'9". I don't recall Wayne Womack shooting threes.
Right.
I know he could, but that wasn't the system. It was the Sean Rooks out there. So he really did adjust as a coach, which is very difficult. And when I call games, I know coaches' styles, and I know they don't deviate much from their styles. They may even change schools, but they keep their systems.
Right, no question.
Years.
Let me say this. I think one of his greatest strengths, and you were part of this, he knew how to evaluate talent. Other people may not have seen it, but he saw it and made it better.
He could evaluate talent, and the funny thing about talent, you got to look at it like jelly beans in a jar. If you got a jar full of jelly beans, but that lid you can't get that lid off, then it does you no good. And that lid represented a player's attitude. That's where Lute succeeded. He could measure someone's attitude. He could look at their talent and then to figure out whether or not he could maximize their potential. He was a character guy. So you could give him a player. We've had players that were loaded with talent that transferred away from Arizona because mentally they weren't tough enough. They couldn't stand the system. They didn't want to play his way. So what good is the talent if it doesn't make the whole program better? So where he was good at identifying talent, he was also good at identifying talent that could be harnessed, talent that could be developed. Mental guys that were mentally tough, guys that had good character, go to class, stay out of trouble, be available for the program. That's, I think, where one of his strengths was too. And the reason I can say that is because all of us are the best of friends, and some of us never even played with each other. And that's amazing.
I heard Matt Muehlbach pretty much saying the same thing. So, Corey, when you have somebody like that in your life, there's so many things that you can point to that, where there was an impact. But if you could pinpoint one greatest lesson or experience that you had with Lute, whether it was while you were playing or after, what would that be?
One of the things I figured out quickly, because I was a very smart kid when I was in college, was the Lute Olson system was like being in the military. It was my way or the highway. Everybody around you was trying to get promoted, move up in rank, and you just had to wait your turn. And waiting your turn can be really difficult when you feel like you're a sophomore and you're good enough to play, but you're sitting behind other guys that are better. Coach dictated the terms in which you receive playing time. For some guys, it was defense. For some guys, it was rebounding. For some guys, it was scoring. And it wasn't the same for everyone. And it used to drive me nuts because I was one of the best scorers at Arizona as a freshman. And I'm not even trying to boast. I could put the ball in the hoops as a freshman. Could not guard a fence. I couldn't guard a mailbox. So Coach looked at me and said, I don't care about your threes. I don't care about your dunks. I don't care about your athleticism. Until you can defend and rebound, you won't play at Arizona. So one of the lessons that Coach taught me that has helped me ever since was in life, you don't get what you want until your superiors are happy. Until your superiors are satisfied and get what they need, then that's when you get what you need. And that attitude, whether you're in corporate America, whether you're working for yourself, you always have to identify what's being desired from me. Can I perform? Can I deliver? Do I get the promotion, the opportunity, the ability, whatever it is you're waiting on? You have to understand there's someone above you that needs something, and it's your job to supply it, or someone else will. And that someone could be Mike Dickerson or Miles off the bench or Joe McClain. We were loaded with All-Americans. So either you're going to do it or someone else will. Either these are your minutes and your playing time and your opportunity, or it will go to someone else. But what we're not going to do is give you anything that you didn't earn. And I left Arizona knowing that every minute, every bucket I ever scored, I earned. I played with some of the best players in the country, so I knew I was coming from a place of real competition and real skill. So when I went out into the regular world, I realized same thing applies. Figure out what you want, who has it, who can give it to you, figure out how to earn it. And I would say that's it.
We got about 30 seconds, and I want to ask this because you knew her very well. I think the best recruit he ever had in his 25 years was Bobby Olson. And what she meant to the program, what she meant to you, her place on the program. Tell me real quick, maybe 30 seconds.
Bobby Olson was amazing. I mean, when you talk about what it takes to get my mom to let me go 2,000 miles away, it's a woman like Bobby Olson. It's the fact that you can look at her and she's so genuine. You know she cares about your son, and you're about to send your son to go play in a program that is co-headed by a woman. And that I don't even joke about that. Everyone knows she was on the staff. She literally told me one week, she goes, I like the way you're playing. I'm going to talk to Luther, and you're going to play more this weekend. And I'll be damned if I swear to God, it was the Cal road trip. I was in the rotation. I looked at Damon. I said, are you kidding me? He said, man, if Bobby get in coach's ear, crazy stuff can happen. So she was the force, and her nature, her ability, her personality, it allowed mothers and families to feel like we're sending our son somewhere like where he's from. And that was huge.
That's great, Corey. Such a great tribute to him and to Bobby, the family and the whole family. I mean, we all love the whole clan. So, hey, Corey, thanks so much for joining us. We really do appreciate this. The best of luck in everything we're doing. And you know what? We're glad you're still here in Tucson, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You guys take care.
Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it. Let's take a quick break. Final break here on 1030 The Voice. Talk to Tom Duddleston on the other side.
We're Tucson's station for local news and talk. 1030 The Voice.
Where you bank really does matter. Hughes Federal Credit Union is proud to be recognized by Forbes as one of Arizona's best credit unions 3 years in a row. This national recognition highlights our commitment to high-quality products and services, our customer service, digital services, and financial advice. At Hughes Federal Credit Union, we offer low rates on loans, lower fees, and many free services. Make the switch. Join Hughes today. Visit hughesfcu.org/best. Certain restrictions apply. Insured by NCUA.
There's a place in our house.
For 70 years, Benjamin Supply has been keeping Tucson flowing. Hygiene is our business. We help you achieve extreme clean. Minimize germ spreading with a hands-free sensor faucet. Forget the paper panic with a washlet seat. And speaking of waterworks, a big thanks to plumbers for their essential efforts during this health crisis. Shop our downtown showroom by appointment. Call us at 777-7000 or see all the products online at benjaminsupply.com.
Thanks to Benjamin Plumbing Supply.
1030 The Voice salutes the legendary Lute Olson. His accomplishments on the court were extraordinary.
As a milestone victory for Arizona. Simon Says championship.
His warmth and character made him more than a coach. He became part of the very fabric of the University of Arizona and the city we call home. We were blessed to have known you. As you rejoin your beloved wife, Bobby, here's to a life well lived. From 1030 The Voice.
Swap shop trains are coming, rolling down that free market track. Sunday mornings, you can buy, sell, or trade anything lawful and moral on the swap shop. Let's listen. Hi, Dennis.
Charles, I need to sell a horse. My wife wants me to get rid of it. I can only ride one at a time, Charles. Quarter horse gelding, about 15 free hands.
Anything else to buy, sell, trade, or...
520.
Swap shop, Sundays 10 to 11 a.m., right before Liberty Watch.
Tune in each Saturday at 9 a.m. for Back to Business, the program about mustering up the energy, excitement, the will, and attitude to take the bull by the horns and get Southern Arizona business up and running again. We'll talk with business leaders who'll share their experiences, knowledge, and stories of struggles and success. If you're a retailer, restaurateur, or entrepreneur who've struggled during the last few months, or just someone interested in helping small business in Southern Arizona, this show is for you. That's Back to Business this Saturday at 9 a.m. Don't miss it.
Tucson's source for trusted news and talk. 1030 The Voice.
Hey, welcome back to Eye on the Ball here on 1030 The Voice. I'm Steve Rivera alongside co-host Jay Gonzalez. And now on the phone we have Tom Duddleston, the former SID at U of A.
Tom, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate you joining us. When I got the news last night, the first person I thought of that we needed to get on the show was you. I think it's safe to say that you were probably the person at the U of A who was around him the longest. You were there from start to finish, and I just wanted to, give you a chance to give a little tribute to him and just some of your thoughts on him. And I don't even know where to start. I don't know where you would start in talking about how you feel about Lute. I saw the picture of you on your bike at the statue today. I mean, just what's going through your head today?
Well, it's first of all, I'm sending my condolences to Kelly and Vicky and Jody and Christy and Steve and Christine, his ex-wife, and all the other people in his family. What a great guy. I mean, wonderful people is what he was all about. I mean, I got to meet you guys. I got to meet a succession of players that could be on this show or have been. Just picture those people. I mean, you're talking about 4 or 5 year players at the University of Arizona under a Hall of Fame coach. Stunning time. I feel for the family.
Yeah, Doug, let me tell you, I thought I said to him a couple times recently that I thanked him for letting the kids grow up, and it helped you with your job, I think, where we had total access, which made, I think, everybody's job easier.
Yeah, that was way better and it was a different time. Obviously, people came to college for 4 years, 5 years, and media access was crucial to our operation. I have to credit Butch Henry, my boss, when I first started there, for being a guy who understood that you guys had to get in the locker room and talk to our players. And when you limited it to a handful of guys on a podium, then you missed all the other stories that you just might have overheard if you were in the locker room.
So, Doug, take us back to 1983. You started working in the department. I think he had just gotten there. First impression of Lute Olson.
Well, fortunately, it was shared. I mean, my first impression was, holy smokes, athletics is a whirlwind compared to what I'd been doing at the university main campus info office. I'm traveling to Washington for football and blah, blah, blah. Lute was a careful man, gracious man, generous, prideful. You could tell he was great. I mean, he knew what he wanted, but he gave us a little bit of space to help him build the kind of media coverage that we wanted him to have and that you guys enjoyed.
If he trusted you, you were good. True?
Yeah, and I did have some run-ins with him later, and it cost me a few years with him. Fortunately, I missed the East Tennessee State game. I missed the Santa Clara game. Some of those games.
I don't even remember that.
Famous losses, those famous losses.
Yeah.
I was at home in Tucson enjoying that stuff on the radio. But anyway, it was a great run, and Lute just had the best stuff. 1987, we go to we were number one for the first time ever.
Right.
When we're at Washington on a Sunday Tuesday game. So people who whine about the calendar, Sunday Tuesday, Washington State, number one after beating Washington. Of course, we had beaten number one Syracuse a couple weeks earlier, number 9 Michigan a couple weeks earlier at the Great Alaskan Shootout. Lute at breakfast at the Bellevue Red Lion Inn in Bellevue. Come on, number one. He goes, oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah. He was proud.
What's the one thing that you think you could tell people about Lute that maybe everybody doesn't already know?
I probably couldn't tell everybody. We had a great time with him a couple of times. One time we're watching the America's Cup in Fremantle, Australia, at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning because it was live in Australia. And we're at the Valley River Inn overnight with George Khalil and Steve Condon and Bobby and maybe Schroeder, one of his buddies. And we just kept going on and on. And thanks to Khalil's pocketbook, we had libation. But who sits in a hotel room with a head coach like that until 3 o'clock in the morning watching sailing? So it was just awesome. So many times like that. I got to take my family on some of his trips, paid for the kids, but my wife got to go to Europe under Nike's tab. We had a good run with that guy.
A lot of wins. I think that's the staple, and not just big wins. He had teams that would just bury you, and they enjoyed burying you.
Hey, that Alaska shootout, they won 3 games by 81 points.
Against good teams.
55 over Duquesne, 11-15 over Michigan, 11 over number 1 Syracuse. And Syracuse had Sherman Douglas and Stephen Thompson and Derek Coleman and Ronnie Cycley. Michigan had 7 NBA guys.
Yeah, Glenn Rice, a whole bunch
Lloyd
of guys.
Bott, Rumel Robinson, blah, blah, blah. After that Alaska shootout, we knew we were going to be number 1, but we just kind of wondered when it would happen. It happened a week later.
Well, that was, again, the magical year that we'll always talk about. We went through that together, and that was, to me, again, I think I've said it a number of times, that was the highlight of my journalism career. Dud, we appreciate you joining us today. This has been, we don't have enough time to say all the things that we'd love to say, but, you got to spend a lot of time with them, and we do appreciate you, joining us and sharing some of that stuff with us.
Yeah, I'm happy to join because when they have this the memorial service, you guys and me, we're not going to be on the roster.
I don't think we're going to be on the podium. Absolutely.
Thanks, Dud.
Hey, Dud, thanks a whole bunch. Stay well.
Okay, love you guys.
That was Tom Dellison, a former SID at U of A, covering Arizona basketball. Back to some news from us.
Yeah, I got to say that gave me kind of gave me some tingles there. Thinking about that. We were in Alaska together.
That was 32 years ago,
and that was the start of all of this.
You were thinner then.
I was way thinner, and I was way younger. My hair was still black, and we just had such a great time. But big memories, and I know we'll talk about it some more. But this was a great
nice show
to go through this with these guys.
Yes.
Guys, it's going to be a new day for us starting next week.
Starting Tuesday, we'll be at Fox Sports 1450.
Right, and we want everybody who's been listening to follow us over there. We'll be at 3 p.m. You can, if you're at your desk working from home, put us on the iHeart app on your computer, on your phone, on your iPad or whatever. You'll have a lot more access to us. You'll be able to follow us and see, we're going to have a podcast on iHeart. There's some big time people over there.
Right. We were visited today. We're pretty excited.
Yeah. Got to go to our studio. We got to move in and do some stuff. And, we're going to have a few challenges at the start, but we're going to be ready to go and, kind of get used to the new digs. And hopefully, again, that you guys will follow us, and we appreciate the support that we've gotten so far.
And thanks again to Bustos for allowing us to do this.
Once again, exactly. Bustos has been great to us. This has been my first run. It's only been a few months. I feel like I've been here forever, but there have been some great people here, and we really, enjoyed the time, and we hope that, again, you'll follow us over there, because I think we're gonna keep bringing you a good show, and if we do good, we'll get you a second hour.
Yes,
and
yes.
You'll hear more of us, and we'll keep getting great guests like this. We're going to keep going with this. We do hope you'll join us.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening to 1030 The Voice.
Thanks a whole bunch. See you Tuesday.
My name is Corey, and I served in the U.S. Army in Iraq. Mail call was the favorite time of day back then. And now, back home as a veteran, I count on the Postal Service for on-time delivery of my VA prescriptions. That's why I can't understand why Senator Martha McSally won't stand up to those who are sabotaging the post office. The pandemic has put a lot of extra pressure on the U.S. mail. But McSally has refused to support emergency funding the Postal Service needs to keep up. I was diagnosed with PTSD after Iraq. If I miss my prescription, even for a few days, it can set me back weeks. Call Senator McSally at